Derek Young and Matt Hall of K-State Online from inside the Veneer Football Complex, where K-State just finished up its weekly Tuesday press conference. A little bit different order today. We had Dalton Risner first. You'll see that entire video later. Then Bill Snyder. Not many players today, but there is some stuff going on at the university not related to the football program, so there's no story there. And in today's press conference, not a lot of fireworks. No real pressing questions asked, and Bill Snyder was pretty happy to talk with the media, and just a message of, I think, persistence and consistency today.
Yeah, really no story really to take from this press conference. In all actuality, less fireworks, no fireworks, really probably the cleanest press conference we've had on that front in probably 3 weeks. And it just seemed to me that not only the persistence, but kind of almost like the focus maybe on the right things.
Absolutely. I think one interesting note today, and I think you were the first person to know about it. You heard of a K-State team meeting happening, players-only meeting happening earlier this week. I actually asked Dalton Risner specifically about it. He did acknowledge it happened. This can be a cliche thing that people put up too much into, but they are important, and I think K-State felt good about the meeting after it happened.
Yeah, I mean, Dalton Risner felt like the team, benefited from it, gained a lot from it, so whether that bears itself out on the field, we'll find out soon enough. I thought it was interesting that he basically kind of said that they've had a players-only meeting each of the last 4 seasons.
Right. A message that you noticed from Bill Snyder earlier this season, Derek, was him consistently talking about needing depth, needing to stay healthy to be successful this year. They haven't stayed healthy. He really referenced the special teams issues being a lot because of a lack of depth, so I don't want to just tell you were right and that was an issue, but is it pretty clear at this point that the issues K-State is having is in part due to depth and talented depth?
If Bill Snyder is going as far as admitting it, then I think that's probably a pretty good confirmation, because I think he would probably be the last one to want to admit that kind of sort of thing. So I think we're seeing that kind of play out on the field, and it's the trickle-down effect, and the special teams gets hurt at some point when you have enough offensive and defensive players where you're getting a second and third string. Those players are going to be less available on special teams. So the trickle-down effect is hurting him. We also heard a little bit about, update on injuries, and it basically is no updates.
Right. I was just going to say, John Kurtz asked specifically about Alex Dalton. Bill Snyder was not ready to say if he could play or not. Denzel Goolsby, who's not out for the year, played last week against Baylor, is expected to play. Probably less positive diagnosis, at least if we're reading into things from on Elijah Sullivan and Blake Lynch. So we don't know who's going to start at quarterback this week, but you tend to think probably Skylar Thompson, especially if Alex Dalton's dinged up. We'll talk a lot about Oklahoma State in the week that comes on K-State Online, but your initial thoughts going into this game, Derek, of how the two teams match up regardless of who's at quarterback when K-State takes on Oklahoma State Saturday in Manhattan.
Just because we're coming off a game where Kansas State ran the ball really, really well and they still haven't got their footing through the passing game yet, I'm a little concerned because Oklahoma State's actually been a really good run defense.
Absolutely.
I think they're first in the Big 12, so it's a little bit of a surprise, but they've been not so good in pass defense. They've given up at least 247 passing yards each of the last 4 games, I believe.
So it will be an interesting game, of course, when K-State hosts Oklahoma State here Saturday, 11 a.m. For Grant Flanders behind the camera, for Derek Young, I'm Matt Hall. Tell your friends.